Finding a forgotten camera in my new home. 3 days after we moved in, the previous owner called me. She said, "I forgot to remove a camera." Then she added, "It was still connected to my phone. I saw everything. I saw what your husband did while you were away with your little girl. You need to know. Don't tell him. Come alone." Honey, you should sit down for this story. I mean, really sit down, not lean on the kitchen counter like you do when you pretend to relax. Take a chair. Get comfortable. Because what happened in that house on Pimmon Lane sounds like something that only happens to other people. Until one Tuesday morning your phone rings, and it becomes your life. My name is Erin Calloway. I was 31 years old and worked as a dental hygienist at Bright Smiles Pediatric Dentistry in Wentzville, Missouri. On March 14th, I carried my 4-year-old daughter across the doorway of the house where I thought we would grow old together. But wait. I need to explain how we found that house because it matters later. Travis and I had been searching for almost 2 years. 2 years of open houses every Saturday. 2 years of my husband checking Zillow at dinner while our daughter Lily spread applesauce all over her high chair. We were renting a small 2-bedroom place off Route K that always smelled like the old tenant's cat, no matter how much I cleaned. Then in January, our realtor sent us a listing on Pimmon Lane. 4 bedrooms. A porch with a swing. A backyard big enough for Lily to run without hitting the fence every 3 steps. The price was $287,500. We could barely afford it, but we also couldn't afford to lose it. The woman selling it was Frida Elner, 58 years old, a retired school librarian and recently widowed. She had raised her children in that house, but said she couldn't handle the silence anymore. You could see she loved it. The garden beds were perfect. The hedges were trimmed into clean squares. She even left a stack of National Geographic magazines on the living room shelf, like she wanted the next family to have something to read. She seemed kind and quiet, the type of person you forget once the papers are signed. I wish I could say I felt something strange that day. A warning, a chill, a bad dream the night before. But I didn't. Moving day was beautiful. It was one of those early spring mornings in Missouri when the air smells like fresh grass and new beginnings. Travis carried Lily on his shoulders through the front door, and she screamed with happiness, so loud the neighbors probably thought we were having a party.
He was good that day.
I need you to understand that. He joked with the movers. He put together Lily's bed without complaining. He even hung the wind chimes I bought at a craft fair in Herman 2 years ago, even though he always said they looked like something a witch would own. He hung them on the porch and said, "There, now the witch is happy." I laughed. And I loved him. I truly loved that man standing in my new kitchen with dust on his nose, and our daughter holding his leg like a baby koala. I was unpacking the living room when I found it, a small white camera, about the size of a deck of cards, sitting on the bookshelf between a glass vase Frida left behind and those National Geographic magazines. It was a simple home security camera, the kind people use to watch pets or check the front door. "She left this," I said, holding it up. Travis looked over and said, "Just throw it away." But I didn't. I put it back on the shelf because my hands were full and I still had 14 boxes to unpack and a 4-year-old who needed dinner. I forgot about it immediately. And, of course, because life can be cruel in strange ways, that was also the day Beverly arrived. Travis's mother. Uninvited. She pulled into the driveway at 4:30 in the afternoon in her Lincoln, carrying a foil-covered pan of stuffed peppers. She brought food I didn't ask for and opinions I definitely didn't need. "You're not putting the glasses there, are you?" That was the first thing she said. Not congratulations. Not the house is beautiful. Just to complain about where I planned to put the glassware. I smiled, so hard my back teeth hurt. That night, after Beverly finally left and Lily was asleep in her new room with her stuffed ladybug, Dodie, tucked under her arm, Travis and I sat on the porch swing. The streetlight at the end of Pimmon Lane buzzed softly. The wind chimes made a light clinking sound.
"This is it," he said.
"This is our life now." And I believed him. Every word. I leaned my head on his shoulder, closed my eyes, and thought, we made it. Behind us, The small camera sat on the shelf, blinking a tiny green light in the dark. Before I continue, if you're new here, take a second to subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. I really do read them all. Okay, back to Pimmin Lane. The phone rang 3 days after we moved in. March 17th, 9:47 in the morning. Lily was at preschool, her first day back after the move. I was scrubbing dried spaghetti sauce off the stove from the night before. The number had a Missouri area code, but I didn't recognize it. Mrs. Calloway? My name is Frida Elner. I sold you the house on Pimmin Lane.
Oh.
Yes, hi. Is everything okay with the paperwork? There was a pause. The kind that makes your whole body freeze. There's no easy way to say this. I left a camera in the house. A small one on the bookshelf. It was still connected to my cloud account. I received a motion alert on the night of March 15th and checked the footage. My hand tightened around the sponge. Mrs. Calloway, I saw your husband with a woman in your living room. On your couch. This was the night you took your daughter somewhere. You weren't home. March 15th. One day after we moved in. The night I took Lily to my sister Caitlin's place in Jefferson City because the house was still a mess and she needed a proper bath and a quiet bed. My knees felt strange.
Not weak exactly.
More like shaking from the inside, as if my bones couldn't decide whether to hold me up or let me fall. Frida kept talking. She said she knew how it sounded. She said her own husband had cheated on her in 1999 and no one warned her. She said she couldn't delete the footage and live with herself. I thanked her. I said I appreciated the call. Then I hung up. I stood in my kitchen holding a sponge that dripped dirty water onto the floor, and my mind did something amazing. It started defending him. Maybe it was just a friend. Maybe a female coworker came over to help move furniture. Maybe Frida misunderstood what she saw because of her own past. People project their pain onto others. It happens. Travis wouldn't do that. Not in her house. Not during the first week. I put the sponge in the sink. I cleaned the counter. I picked Lily up from preschool, made her a snack, and continued the day like nothing happened. I did not call Frida back. But the call stayed in my mind, like a tiny splinter under the skin. You can't see it, but you feel it every time you press that spot. And then, almost immediately, things started to change. Travis began leaving for work before Lily woke up. 6:15, sometimes 6:20 in the morning. He said the Q2 rush at Ozark Building Supply was intense. Every night, he placed his phone face down on the nightstand. Screen against the wood. By itself, that means nothing. Lots of people flip their phones over. I told myself 6 different reasons, and I believed every one of them. Then I found the receipt. It fell out of the chest pocket of his gray Carhartt jacket when I was hanging it up. A folded piece of paper. Hampton Inn, Columbia, Missouri. $612. Dated February 3rd. He was supposed to be at a training seminar in Springfield that week. Springfield is southwest. Columbia is 2 hours in the opposite direction. My stomach flipped for a second. Then my brain did what it had been doing since Frida's call. It started making excuses. Maybe the company changed his hotel at the last minute. Maybe I remembered the city wrong. I folded the receipt and pushed it into the junk drawer under old takeout menus and loose batteries. Out of sight. This has nothing to do with any of this, but my best friend Donna makes the best pimento cheese in the world. The kind that ruins all other pimento cheese forever. She uses smoked paprika and a little pickle juice. I've tried for 6 years to get her to tell me the exact amount. She refuses. Anyway, that evening Donna called me crying. Her husband Kyle had been texting a coworker. Not work texts. The kind that make you want to throw the phone into a river and then throw the husband in after it. She found them when Kyle left his iPad unlocked on the kitchen counter. I was sitting on Lily's bedroom floor, trying to put together a bookshelf, holding an Allen wrench. I listened to Donna cry for 40 minutes. I told her all the right things. He doesn't deserve you. You'll get through this. You're stronger than you think. When I hung up, I sat there in the quiet, surrounded by Lily's picture books and ladybug stickers. And I thought, *, thank God that's not me. Thank God Travis would never, Asterisk Frida's words were still in my mind, heavy like a stone at the bottom of a well. I could feel it there, but I refused to look down. I believed Travis couldn't lie his way out of a parking ticket. I was wrong. I had married a man who could have had a second career in theater, and I was still in the audience applauding. The next morning, Beverly called. Not to ask about the move. Not to ask about Lily. You know, she said casually, Kara's mother from my women's group was telling me what a lovely girl Kara is. She works with Travis. Did you know that? Such a sweet thing. That's nice, I said, struggling with a fitted sheet on the guest bed. I barely registered the name. She brought Travis lunch at the office last week. Isn't that thoughtful? Why would his coworker bring him lunch? Oh, honey. Beverly laughed softly. She's just friendly. Some people are natural givers. That conversation slipped into the same mental drawer as the hotel receipt, the face-down phone, and the call from the retired librarian I was still pretending never happened. That night, Travis snapped at me. I asked when the rest of the furniture would arrive. We had ordered a dining table and an accent chair, and I was just curious. Can you stop asking about that? I'm handling it, Aaron. His tone was sharp. It stopped me in the middle of my sentence. 10 minutes later, he apologized. Sorry, babe. Work is killing me. It's fine, I said. It wasn't fine. I just didn't know it yet. 2 weeks in that house, and I had already memorized the sound of his truck pulling into the driveway. The Dodge Ram with the Ozark Building Supply logo had a certain diesel rattle when he turned it off. It used to make me feel safe. He's home. Everything's okay. By the end of March, I heard that same sound and felt something else. Something I couldn't name. Like smelling gas in the house, but not knowing where it's coming from. He was late 3 times in 1 week. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Each time he had a reason. A client dinner ran long. He had to drop off samples in Chesterfield. His boss needed to talk strategy after hours. Every reason sounded reasonable. But each time he came home, he went straight to the shower before even saying hello to Lily. His phone was always face down now. Not sometimes. Always. And he started taking calls in the garage with the door closed between us. I would be in the kitchen washing Lily's cups and hear his voice through the wall.
Low. Soft. Different.
When he came back inside, I would ask, "Who is that?" Work. Then, the Discover card statement came. It arrived in a plain white envelope addressed only to Travis Calloway. There was nothing on the outside showing what it was. But I knew what a credit card statement looked like. And I was completely sure we only had 2 credit cards, a Visa and a MasterCard. Both joint accounts. Both visible in my online banking app. I was standing at the mailbox in my scrubs, still wearing my work badge. The afternoon sun was hot on the back of my neck. I held that envelope for a full minute. Then I slipped it back into the stack of mail. I carried everything inside and placed it on the kitchen counter where Travis would see it. I told myself I would ask him about it later. I didn't. Beverly came over that Saturday. She did not call first. She never called first. She let herself in using the spare key Travis had given her, a key I never agreed to. By the time I came downstairs, she had already rearranged Lily's bookshelf. Lily and I had spent an entire afternoon organizing it by color, with little ladybug stickers on the spines. Beverly reorganized everything by height. She'll never learn to be organized if you sort by color, Aaron, she said. That's not how the real world works. My daughter is 4 years old. In her real world, sorting by ladybug sticker color makes perfect sense. But I didn't say that. I scrubbed the kitchen counter until my wrist hurt and replied, "I'll remember that, Beverly." And honestly, she added, "if you had more time at home instead of cleaning other people's teeth all day." She didn't finish the sentence.
She didn't have to.
That evening, I talked to Donna again. She sounded different now.
Calmer.
Focused. Angry in a productive way. Her paralegal brain had switched on, and she was building a case against Kyle like she was preparing for court.
The signs were all there, she said.
He started sleeping with his phone under his pillow. Literally under his pillow. Like a teenager. He changed his passwords. And he got weirdly extra nice for about 2 weeks before I found out. I gave a small laugh. Travis didn't sleep with his phone under his pillow. He just charged it in the bathroom now, with the door closed. Travis isn't like that, I said honestly. He's just stressed. New house. New sales territory. You know how he gets. I know, Donna replied quietly. I'm just saying, keep your eyes open. My eyes are open, I told her. They weren't. Here's the truth about marriage. You become very skilled at explaining things away. You can look at evidence that would make a detective suspicious, and you find a simple reason for it. You see the red flags, then you carefully place them in a glass case labeled perfectly normal and walk away. If Sherlock Holmes had watched me, he would have given up. And all the while, Frida's phone calls stayed in the back of my mind like a heavy stone. Every time something felt strange, the receipt, the face-down phone, the late nights, that stone pressed against me. I would feel it. Then I would tell myself she misunderstood. She saw two people on a couch and assumed the worst. That's all. Then Lily said something at dinner that Thursday. Travis was late again. It was just the two of us eating mac and cheese at our new kitchen table. One chair still had plastic on it because I hadn't peeled it off yet. Mama, Lily said, Daddy talks to the lady on the phone with a funny voice. My fork stopped in the air. What lady, sweetheart? I don't know. He calls her something nice. Something nice? Like what? She shrugged. She was busy separating her macaroni by size, which, for the record, is a perfectly reasonable system for a 4-year-old. My stomach dropped 6 inches. And then I did what I had been doing for weeks. I told myself she was 4. She probably misheard. Maybe he was talking to a client. Maybe it was customer service. Maybe he called someone sweetheart because that's just how people talk around here. Maybe I was overthinking the simple words of a preschooler. Now, I know what you're thinking right now. You're probably yelling at your screen. Aaron, open your eyes. But listen to me. When you love someone, you build a fortress of excuses around them, brick by brick. And you protect it with everything you have. Because if that fortress falls, your whole life falls with it. And I wasn't ready for that. Not yet. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Travis was asleep. His phone was charging in the bathroom. The house was quiet except for the refrigerator humming downstairs and Lily's sound machine playing soft ocean waves behind her closed door. The thought came back again. Not about the phone this time. About Frida. About the video footage sitting in her cloud account. About a retired librarian in O'Fallon who had no reason to lie to a stranger. My eyes burned. I turned over, pulled the blanket to my chin, and told myself everything was fine. By the last week of March, I had stopped sleeping through the night. Not in a dramatic way. No nightmares. No panic attacks. I would just wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, wide awake, my mind racing like an engine someone forgot to shut off. So I would get up and do something. Anything. One night, I reorganized the entire pantry in alphabetical order. Canned goods on the left. Dry goods on the right. Spices on a rack I bought months ago and never installed. At 2:15 a.m., I stood there with a screwdriver and a level, mounting that spice rack on the inside of the pantry door. This is normal, I told myself. We just moved. People organize after a move. It wasn't normal. Here's the truth about your body. It figures things out long before your brain is ready to admit them. Your stomach knows. Your shoulders know. That tight feeling under your ribs that won't go away no matter how many deep breaths you take. That knows too. I just wasn't listening. The Discover card statement had been sitting on the counter for 9 days. Travis hadn't opened it. Hadn't moved it. Hadn't mentioned it. On a Wednesday morning, with Travis at work and Lily at preschool, I stood alone in the kitchen with a cup of coffee that had gone cold. And I opened it. No big decision. No dramatic music playing in my head. I just slid my thumb under the flap. The balance was $3,740. Okay, we just bought a house. Moving costs money. Then I looked at the charges. Restoration hardware, $4,180. That was supposed to be the dining table, the accent chair, and the shelving unit for the den. Travis handled the order. Said he got a discount through a friend. But something made me set my coffee down. I walked into the den. There was one sofa, 3 throw pillows, and a rug from our old apartment. No dining table, no accent chair, no shelving unit. I was looking at maybe $1,200 worth of furniture. So, where was the other $2,980? That night I almost asked him. I practiced the question in the shower, standing under water, so hot my skin turned pink. Hey, I noticed the restoration hardware charge. I was just wondering where the rest of the order is.
Casual. Easy.
Not accusing. Just a normal wife asking about normal furniture. But when he came home, he was in a good mood. He played with Lily in the backyard for an hour. He made spaghetti for dinner without being asked. And I looked at him and thought, this is the man I married. The phone, the receipt, the credit card. That was just noise.
Static.
The real signal was this, him stirring marinara sauce while our daughter told him a long story about ladybugs. I put the statement back into the envelope. The envelope went under a stack of old magazines in the guest room closet. The next day, I sat in my car in the Walmart parking lot for 35 minutes after buying groceries. I wasn't crying. I wasn't thinking about Travis. I wasn't thinking about anything. The engine was off. My hands rested in my lap. I watched shopping carts roll across the parking lot in the wind. When I finally looked at the clock, it was 4:12 p.m. And I realized I had been sitting there long enough for doubt to feel almost comfortable. It was almost 4 o'clock. The frozen pizzas had thawed. The pint of butter pecan ice cream I bought for no reason was melted into soup. I drove home, threw it all away, and didn't tell anyone. Donna called that weekend. She was in full war mode now. Her lawyer had pulled Kyle's bank records and found he had spent over $8,000 on the other woman in 6 months. The court calls it dissipation of marital assets, Donna said. Her voice was flat and precise, the way it gets when she switches into paralegal mode. My attorney told me that if I had started documenting when I first suspected instead of waiting 3 months, I could have recovered every cent. The judge looks at the timeline. When you knew, what you did next, whether the money was spent during the marriage on someone outside the marriage. That's terrible, I said quietly. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be smart. If anything ever, it won't. I cut in. I know. But if it ever did, document first. React second. That's what my lawyer said. The women who win are the ones who build the file before they throw the punch. That sentence landed deeper than I expected. It settled next to Frida's voice in my mind. On Sunday, Beverly called again. I meant to tell you, Kara brought Travis lunch again on Friday. That girl is an angel. Her mother raised her right. Beverly, I asked carefully, why would a coworker bring my husband lunch twice? Oh, Aaron, not everything is something. She's just kind. Something cold moved through my chest. Not a thought. A feeling, like a draft in a room with all the windows closed. I have to go, I said. Lily needs a bath. That night Travis came home and announced he wanted to throw a housewarming party. April 12th, a Saturday. Invite everyone. Your family, my family, people from work. Let's show off what we built. Sounds great, I said. And it did sound great. It sounded like something a man with nothing to hide would suggest. So, I added that to the fortress too.
See?
He wants our families here. He wants his coworkers here. A guilty man wouldn't do that. Then everything fell apart. His phone buzzed on the kitchen counter while he was in the bathroom. The screen lit up. Kara and red heart, just her name. And a red heart emoji. He walked out and saw me standing there. His eyes moved to the phone, then back to me. Work thing, he said quickly, grabbing it and sliding it into his pocket. A heart emoji. From the girl Beverly couldn't stop praising. The one bringing my husband lunch. And suddenly every brick in that fortress collapsed at once. The receipt. The credit card. The late nights. Lily's funny voice lady. And at the very bottom, exactly where I had left it weeks earlier, was Frida's phone call. Was I looking for problems? My sister Caitlin always says I overthink things, that I create stories out of random noise. But Caitlin didn't get a call from a retired librarian with no reason to lie. Caitlin didn't see a red heart emoji from Kara M. Caitlin wasn't awake at 3 in the morning organizing spices because her body knew something her mind refused to accept. The next morning, after Travis left for work, I sat at the kitchen table with my coffee. I picked up my phone. I dialed Frida's number, the one I had saved but told myself I would never use. She answered on the second ring. "Frida, it's Erin Calloway from Pimmon Lane." My voice was steadier than I expected. "I need to see that footage." There was silence. Then she said softly, "I still have everything. Come whenever you're ready." "I'm ready now." I drove to her apartment in O'Fallon in 22 minutes. I don't remember most of the drive. The steering wheel felt slippery in my hands. I made turns and wasn't sure I had checked my mirrors. I parked near a dumpster and sat there for a moment, breathing. Frida's apartment was small and clean. The kind of place someone moves into after selling a family home. Efficient, organized, quiet. There wasn't a single decoration on Frida's walls that didn't serve a purpose. No family photos. No art. Just shelves, books, and a clock that ticked too loudly. She had tea ready for me. I didn't touch it. She sat me at her small kitchen table and opened her laptop. "There are 3 clips," she said quietly. 11 minutes total. March 15th, starting at 9:14 p.m. I need a second here. This part still hurts. It was Travis. On our couch. In our new house. And a woman. Younger than me. Dark hair pulled back. Tank top.
Jeans.
They weren't just sitting there. They were comfortable. Too comfortable. The kind of comfort that doesn't happen the first time 2 people meet alone. This was familiar.
Easy. Practiced.
And then I saw it. Lily's stuffed ladybug.
Dodie.
It was sitting on the coffee table. 3 feet away from them. My daughter's favorite toy in the world. The one she sleeps with every night. It was right there in the frame while my husband had another woman in our home. I closed the laptop myself. Frida didn't have to. She didn't say, "I'm sorry." She didn't ask what I was going to do. She just sat there and let the silence exist. And that was the right choice because one word of sympathy would have broken me completely. "My husband did the same thing," Frida said after a while. "In 1999. No one told me. I didn't find out for 4 years. By then he had drained our savings, refinanced the house without my name on it, and I left a 23-year marriage with a suitcase and an old car." She looked at me carefully. "I lost everything because nobody picked up the phone. I picked up the phone for you. What you do with it is your choice. Here's what I didn't do. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't call Travis. I didn't drive home and throw his clothes on the lawn. And the reason was Donna. Donna, who documented too late. Donna, who confronted Kyle the same night she found the texts and gave him 12 hours to delete evidence, move money, and call a lawyer. Donna, who told me, the women who unbuild the file before they throw the punch. Frida copied the footage onto a USB drive. A small blue SanDisk. The kind you buy in a 3-pack. I also had her airdrop the files to my phone. Then I uploaded them to a Google Drive folder while sitting at her kitchen table. 3 copies. 3 locations. No one was deleting this. In my car, I called Donna. "I need everything your lawyer told you about dissipation of marital assets," I said. "How to document it. What the court needs. The timeline. All of it." "Oh God, Erin." "Today?" I said. "I need it today." She didn't ask what happened. She heard my voice. She knew. "Come to my office at lunch," she said. "I'll print everything." When I drove home, Travis was on the porch with Lily. She was riding her tricycle in circles in the driveway. He sat on the swing, scrolling his phone, laughing at something on the screen. He looked up and waved. My hand lifted automatically. The smile came from somewhere mechanical. But the woman who smiled at him was not the same woman who had left that house 3 hours earlier.
She looked the same.
She sounded the same. But behind her eyes, something had gone completely still. I gave myself 14 days. Donna's attorney had told her that strong financial misconduct cases show a clear 2-week documentation period before filing. So I set a clock in my mind. April 1st, 14 days to build the file. 14 days of smiling at a man I could barely look at while I quietly dismantled the lie he built around our life. The Discover card statement came first. I pulled it out from under the magazines in the guest room. I photographed every page. Restoration hardware, $4,180. Only $1,200 worth of furniture delivered. Hampton Inn, Columbia, $612. On a night, he said he was in Springfield. And then 2 more hotel charges I missed before. A Holiday Inn Express in Wentzville, 20 minutes from our house at our own house. Holiday Inn Express, $189. Best Western in St. Peter's, $214. Both on nights he told me he was doing ride-alongs with new sales reps, then I moved to our joint bank statements. That part took 3 nights. I worked at the kitchen table after Lily fell asleep, and Travis was wherever Travis was. I spread the pages out and cross-checked every charge with the dates on his work calendar. He had forgotten that our Google accounts were still linked. There it was. A sales receipt. $890 for a necklace. I never received a necklace. 14 restaurant charges at places I had never heard of. A steakhouse in Chesterfield. A wine bar in Clayton. A brunch cafe in the Central West End. $2,840 over 5 months. Every single charge on nights he told me he was working late or having dinner with a client. Then the cash withdrawals. 8 of them. ATMs I didn't recognize. 200 here. 400 there. Once, 650. $3,615 total. When I added everything together on my calculator app, my hands started shaking. $11,340. That's how much he spent on hotels, jewelry, restaurants, and cash that disappeared somewhere I didn't want to imagine. Marital money. While I was packing school lunches, cleaning other people's teeth, organizing the pantry at 2 in the morning because my body knew something my brain refused to admit. One evening, Donna sat with me at her kitchen table and showed me how her lawyer wanted everything organized.
Date.
Vendor. Amount. What Travis told me. What it actually appeared to be. 2 columns. His version and the truth. Then came the setback. Thursday night. He was in the shower. His phone was on the bedroom dresser, screen down like always. The only time he ever left it alone. My hand reached for it. I typed in the passcode. Our anniversary. Incorrect. Lily's birthday. Incorrect. His mother's birthday. Incorrect. One more try before it locked. I put it back exactly where it was, screen down. My heart was pounding so hard I felt it in my fingertips. That was my window.
And it closed.
He had changed the code.
And he didn't tell me.
That told me more than any credit card charge. And then, the same week, because the universe has strange timing, Travis became the sweetest man on Pimlico Lane. He brought flowers home on a Tuesday. Not gas station flowers. Real flowers from a florist, wrapped in tissue paper with a card that said, just because, he offered to cook dinner. He suggested date night. He sat on the living room floor and played Candyland with Lily for 45 minutes without checking his phone once. I know I've been distracted, he said. Work's been crazy. But I'm here. I'm right here. My blood turned cold. Not because of the words. Because of the pattern. Donna's voice echoed in my mind. Kyle bought me a Pandora bracelet 2 days before I found the texts. Guilty men get nice. It's textbook. Did he know? Had he seen me reviewing the statements? Had Beverly said something? That night I almost broke. I almost pulled the USB drive out of the hidden pocket in my gym bag and slammed it on the kitchen table. Explain this. Instead, I called Donna. My hands were shaking. My voice was barely above a whisper because Travis was downstairs watching SportsCenter. He doesn't know, she said calmly. He's guilt cycling. They all do it. 3 weeks distant, 1 week husband of the year. It's not about you. It's about him calming his conscience. Stay focused, Aaron. You're close. The closest call came that Saturday. Bank statements were spread across the kitchen table. I was adding 2 more charges to the spreadsheet when I heard the front door open. Travis wasn't supposed to be home until 3. It was 1:15. The papers flew off the table and into Lily's big plastic art bin under the counter. The one filled with crayons, glue sticks, and construction paper. My hands moved before my brain did. By the time he walked into the kitchen, I was rinsing a coffee mug at the sink like I'd been standing there all along. When Travis walked into the kitchen, I was standing at the counter holding a purple crayon and a piece of cardboard. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Lily's collage project for preschool."
He looked at me.
I looked at him. Something passed between us. Something quiet and tense. Like 2 people who both suspect the other is lying, but neither one wants to pull the thread and unravel everything. "Cool," he said. He grabbed a Gatorade from the fridge and went out to the garage. My hands shook for an hour. The housewarming party was April 12th. 41 people filled our new house. Both families.
Friends.
Neighbors. Travis's coworkers. I wasn't planning a scene. I wasn't going to make a speech. This party was for watching. And what I saw changed everything. Beverly and Kara Messenger were standing in my kitchen laughing. Not the polite laugh of strangers making small talk. Not the stiff smile of people meeting for the first time. It was easy, familiar. Beverly touched Kara's arm casually, warmly, like you touch someone you know well. Kara leaned in and whispered something that made Beverly throw her head back and laugh harder. I stood in the hallway holding a stack of paper plates and watched them for 90 seconds. In those 90 seconds, I understood something that hit harder than the hidden camera footage. Beverly knew. His mother knew about Kara. And she liked her. Maybe she even preferred her. All those comments about Kara being sweet, an angel, raised right, they weren't random compliments. They were additions. Beverly was rooting for the understudy. Monday morning, Lily was at preschool. Travis was at work. I drove to St. Charles and sat in the office of Rita Garza, a family law attorney at the same firm where Donna worked as a paralegal. Donna had made the appointment. She had also prepared a 1-page summary of my case without me even asking.
Dates.
Amounts. Evidence types. That's who Donna is. I will owe her forever. Everything went onto Rita's desk. The USB drive with the footage. Photos of the Discover card statements. Bank records. The spreadsheet showing $11,340 in dissipated marital assets. The necklace receipt. Hotel charges matched to the nights Travis claimed he was elsewhere. Restaurant bills lined up with his working late stories. Rita reviewed it for 10 minutes. Then she removed her glasses and said, "This is the cleanest file a first-time client has ever brought me." I filed for divorce that afternoon. Rita asked one question I hadn't prepared for. "Where do you want him served?" I thought for 3 seconds. His office. Not because I wanted drama, but because Ozark Building Supply had 62 employees. In a building that size, everyone notices when a process server walks in. Everyone talks. Travis wouldn't control the story. He wouldn't soften it over dinner. He wouldn't spin it first. The facts would arrive before his version did. And the filing included everything. Every hotel charge. Every restaurant receipt. Every cash withdrawal. The $890 Zales necklace. All listed clearly under dissipation of marital assets with dates and amounts. Kara Messenger wasn't named directly. She didn't have to be. A logistics coordinator at the same company. Hotel rooms in towns matching Travis's trips. A necklace purchased 2 weeks after their 7-month mark. In a company that small, court documents don't stay private for long. They move through cubicles, break rooms,
Parking lots.
Not because people are cruel, because people talk. And when a regional account manager is served divorce papers detailing $11,000 spent on someone who works 20 feet from his desk, the math is simple. Travis called me 17 times that afternoon. I didn't answer once. He drove home at 4:30. The locks had been changed. Caitlin was sitting on the porch. Travis stood in the driveway for a long time. Caitlin sat on the porch swing with a glass of sweet tea, expression frozen, like the Lake Erie in January. Then he got in the Dodge Ram and drove to his mother's house. The first thing he said to Beverly, "This is your fault. You knew about Kara. You pushed me toward her. You told me Aaron wasn't enough." Beverly didn't argue. 2 days later, she called. I let it ring 4 times before picking up. "Aaron, I need to explain." "There's nothing to explain, Beverly. If you just let me, I have nothing to say to you." The phone went back on the counter. The door closed quietly. No slam. No speech. Just quiet. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. Rita Garza earned every penny of her $4,200 fee, worth 10 times over. The judge reviewed the dissipation claim, the spreadsheet, hotel receipts, the $890 necklace that never arrived, and awarded me the full $11,340 on top of the standard equitable division. I kept the house. Both our names were on the mortgage, but Travis's hidden debt, the Discover card balance, and the clear pattern of spending marital funds on an affair made the math simple. Beverly's $15,000 contribution was a gift, filed and untouchable. Travis couldn't use it as leverage. Donna had flagged the document 3 weeks before the filing, just to be safe. Kara Messenger resigned from Ozark Building Supply in May. Nobody asked her officially, but in a company of 62 employees, the court filing made the hallways uncomfortable. I heard she moved to Kansas City. I don't know what she does there. I don't care. The day after the divorce, I called Frida Elner. I sat on the porch swing with a glass of iced tea. "Thank you," I said. "I don't know if you understand what you did for me." "Oh, I understand exactly what I did," Frida said. "That camera was supposed to watch my cats while I was on vacation. Isn't that something? $29 camera from Amazon, and it did more than your divorce lawyer managed in 2 years. We meet for coffee once a month now. First Thursday. She orders the same thing every time. Medium decaf with too much cream, a lemon poppy seed muffin that's always a little dry. She talks about her garden. I tell her about Lily's latest ladybug obsession. We don't talk about Travis much. There isn't much left to say. And here's the part that matters. That first night alone in the house, truly alone, Lily sleeping over at Caitlin's, I walked out onto the porch. The swing was still there. Same chains, same creak when you lean back too far. The streetlight at the end of Pimmon Lane buzzed in the warm night. Somewhere down the block, smoke drifted over the rooftops like a lazy gray ribbon. A cup of chamomile tea was already cooling in my hands. I didn't reheat it. Didn't check my phone. Didn't plan tomorrow or replay yesterday. I just sat there, swung gently, and listened to the crickets. For the first time since we moved into that house, the knot behind my ribs was gone. Thank you for staying with me through this one. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. If this story sat with you the way it sat with me telling it, there's another one already on your screen.
Click it.